and we're going to do the waypoints, 3 waypoints. So we want it to fly here, then here, and then we want it to land right next to us. The cool thing about this smoke signal, this is a really, really cool option in MCC. It doesn't always work out properly, but if you are calling in a Blue 4 bird and you throw down smoke, the bird is going to land where you have thrown smoke down, or close. It's going to see the smoke and land close to it. We told it to free land engine off because that's the best potentiality for it to land. And we can see it's starting to fly here, and it'll get here in a bit. The important thing to note is when this lands, it's going... Can I put this? You have to tell it to fly back. So you have to wait for everybody to load back up and tell it to fly back, which is why, like I said, if you have the option, just have a player pilot, because it's a little bit easier. But if you don't have a pilot around, this thing can work too. As we can see, he's going to come in for a landing. He's flying a little higher than 50 meters, but he's going to come in. He's not going to land exactly where we told him to land. He's going to land as close as he can to it. He's going to pick a spot that is relatively easy for him to land. So if you tell him to land in the middle of a forest, he's not going to land there. As we can see, he takes a really long time in landing. He's not like an actual chopper pilot that's going to land properly. So he doesn't do quick lands like some of our chopper pilots do. That's pretty much how you use the evac menu. And then we just select, we go back into that evac menu. Again, we got to make sure we're on the right faction. And we select him here, and then we give him the waypoints to go back to. And again, we give him the flight height that he's going to go up to. You pretty much never want to select 500 meters, because you can take the entire time to go up to 500 meters helicopters. Vehicles, simply if they're going to turn their engines on or off when they get there. So if you need to delete the evac vehicle or delete the driver, so let's say we have a pilot on the ground, we can click the vehicle, or we can just have this and we'll delete the driver. Alright, no, I won't do that one. Delete the drivers when you... I don't prefer doing it that way. It's whatever. Or you can res the driver if they die for whatever reason, if they get shot. But I don't like using these things to delete because they bug out sometimes and delete other stuff. Just delete through the MCC like we taught earlier through here. IED, like I said, we're going to go into in depth. Alright. As we can see up in the top here, it gives us some basic instructions. Press Control left to trigger an IED on an or ambushing party, and Shift left to draw a link between an IED or ambush party. We have 2 buttons down here. IED and ambush are in the same menu. We have a variety of things to pick between. So we can small objects, medium objects, wrecks, a hidden IED, minefields, which are not obviously IEDs or ambushes really, they're just a minefield. Ammo boxes and cars are IEDs, and we have armed civilians, which again are not IEDs, they are people that when you walk up to, they're gonna present as civilians, and when you get close or not looking, they're gonna pull a pistol and shoot at you. Suicide bombers, again, everybody has touchy subjects on this. If you don't want to use them, don't use them. But they run up and basically blow up. And for armed civilians and suicide bombers in minefields, as you can see here, this all changes when we do that. Armed civilians, again, we can tell them what they're going to spawn in as. With armed civilians, you need to make sure you're actually on a civilian thing. If you're not, you're going to spawn in a Blue 4 troop, and he's going to shoot at you when you walk near him. We can also tell him what faction we want him to target, and everything like that too. And suicide bomber, again, we see. So if you want to make a Blue 4 suicide bomber, you can, or like somebody on your team. Okay. Alright, so anyways, the ones I really like to use are the hidden IEDs. Some of the small objects have a chance to bug out, so and some of them just don't even blow up at all. We've done a lot of testing with these, so I like to use the hidden IEDs. They're really nice. They're harder to see if you want to make sure an IED goes off, essentially, on a player group. If you don't, small, medium objects, cars, stuff like that, wrecks, really cool. Alright, so we're going to use dirt big. The object, these do give different explosions. Just a heads up, all of these. So a medium object gives a different explosion than a small object. An IED gives a different explosion than a small and medium object. So like I said, we're going to use the dirt big, and then we have the explosion size. Generally, you do never want to use a large explosion size. That's pretty much going to kill everything within like a 30 to 40 meter radius. Don't use it. It's so small. We never want to use the disabling explosion type. You may think you want to. The reason we don't want to use a disabling explosion type is because what it does is it sets vehicles on fire. And with the way Arma 3 works with vehicles on fire right now is you're generally going to die trying to get out of the vehicle. And that's just something that's a work in progress with MCC and between that and Arma 3 and all the vehicle communities and stuff. Fake, obviously, it just makes a fake explosion. It explodes, but nothing actually happens. And then no explosion, pretty self-explanatory. So deadly is the main one we really want to use. No explosions if you want to create like fake IEDs to just screw with people's heads. So deadly, we're on dirt big so we can kind of see it a little bit. Jammable means if you have an engineer that's using a jamming device, he can use that. Again, you just select it on or off. How long it's going to take an engineer to disarm it. Once he does go to disarm it, how it's going to be triggered. If you want it triggered by proximity, so that means when they get close to it, you can trigger it by radio spotter, or you can trigger it by mission maker only. Again, this is you blowing it off yourself. But proximity is the general one you're going to use. This is in meters. 3 meters, you're basically saying, I need to force somebody to walk within 3 meters of this thing. Generally not going to happen. I generally use the 5 to 15 range. Sometimes a little higher if I just want to scare the pants off people. The bigger the explosion you're using, generally the bigger the proximity, so you don't blow the entire group up and, end a mission based off one IED. So we're going to do a 10 meter radius over the ambush in a bit, but we're going to create the IED. Here, alright. And there we go. Okay, so you can see the thing I'm moving around here. That is the IED. We're in the 3D editor, so I'm going to go over this now. Use your scroll wheel to bring things up and down while in here. Use control to rotate it, and that's pretty much all you need to be able to do. Alt is going to align it to the terrain. Shift is going to smooth it. Those really don't do anything, though. You have all the controls on the left side there. Control X or delete will delete this object that we currently have. Tab obviously closes the editor. Space is going to be when we want, and when it's where we're at, where we want it, we're going to click space, and that's where it's going to be at. For the most part, we're not going to be able to touch it. We can go into night vision and thermals if we want, and all those visions and stuff like that. And we can also get rid of that interface if we want to see more stuff. So we're going to place this here. And alright. So sometimes the IEDs will show up on your screen, sometimes they won't. If they don't, it's cool. If they do, it's cool. Alright, so we had... Did it actually spawn it? See, so it didn't actually spawn it, so that's why it didn't pop up on the screen. So you need to make sure we're aware of that. Always double check things when you place them, like IEDs. It didn't actually spawn, so we need to go through that whole process again. Things have the potentiality to bug out. Just be aware of it. It happens. Deal with it. Get over it. Move on. It's not wanting to spawn the ID for some reason. I think it's run. Oh, hold on a second. That might be why. Let's hop onto the East faction. We'll spawn a small object. I don't really like doing it, but we'll spawn a small object. 5 meters. Create ID. Left click. Crates are the easiest thing in the world to see. And again, they're not spawning. Like I said, I'm on a different release client, so sometimes things don't work with the server, so the IDs aren't working. It's, you know, it happens. Or did I spawn on this? No, I spawned on this sword. It happens. So we're not going to go over. I'm not going to show you the explosion effects of an ID, but it's pretty simplistic. People walk next to it, blows up. Ambushes, essentially, people walk past them, and they blow up. You can also, if you hold shift, I think I need an ID placed. Anyways, if you hold shift, you should be able to. Oh crap! I'll let them kill me. It's don't spawn shit next to you, because then they're gonna kill you like that. It's alright, we'll load back in. Wanted to reset the server anyways. So you can link ambushes and IEDs. Ambushes basically as soon as they see people, they're gonna start shooting. Pretty simplistic. If you link it to an IED, when the IED explodes, the ambush will take place. You can also simply just, for simplicity's sake, manually trigger the ambush. So, oh, well, look at that, nothing went away. But we're going to delete everything. We're going to show this really quickly. We're going to delete everything in that area. And it's all gone. Nice and clean. Even gets rid of the zone properly. Alright. Convoy. Like I said, I don't like using this, but we're going to go over it anyways. We're just going to do... Yeah, we'll just spawn these. You can read over here what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to left click on the map to start the position for the convoy. We're going to start it here. And then it wants us to create 4 waypoints. So we want it to go through this, through there. We're going to have it go to the airfield. Actually, we'll have it. And that's where it's going to end. Then we can say when it's going to start, everything like that. So we're going to say start the convoy. Nothing's going on. See, this is why I don't like using the convoy menu, because it doesn't work half the time. See, nothing's spawning. That's why I don't like using the convoy menu. It bugs out sometimes. So just all try using. Why is the server at 0 FPS? That could be why things aren't spawning. Give me a second here, guys. Apologize about this. We're gonna restart the map actually. So this is things you need to pay attention to as matchmaker. If that FPS at the server goes to 0, causes issues, we need to be aware of that. Because things are happening that the server's not understanding, or that the server's causing issues, something like that. But quite simply, we went out of the game, and we're going to restart it. Not going